Stand. No?
Okay.
Okay, she's on.
So this is Eyes Like Mine, Countdown to Blindness Awareness Month special, and I am sitting here with Miss Margaret Chaplin. Wave to the camera.
Hello.
So I just want to thank you so much for taking out the time to share a little information about what the Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey offers for vision restoration. Just for the record, what position do you hold here at the Eye Bank?
First of all, it's my pleasure to do this. And at the Eye Bank, I'm the executive director of the Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey.
Okay, and what are some responsibilities of the executive director?
The executive director really focuses mostly on the direction and the vision for the eye bank, and we want to be the premier eye bank in New Jersey, serving all of New Jersey. So a lot of what I do is planning, organizing, and really leading the staff so that we can accomplish the goals we set out for ourselves each year.
Okay. When you initially started being the executive director, why was it important to work for the Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey?
When I started, I've always had a career in healthcare and always worked in the hospitals, on the hospital side. So more of the providing care, direct patient care. When I started at the eye bank, I was really intrigued by this position because I was always interested in organ donation. I am an organ donor. I have it designated on my license from the time I started driving. But not only was it interesting to me about what we do with a cornea and how that can give the gift of sight, the other part that really intrigued me was how we could use, or other people can help to spread the message about the importance of eye organ and tissue donation. It really takes one person sharing with another, until we really get a lot of momentum. And one day, my hope is that no one will be waiting for any kind of organ donation because everybody will know about the importance of it and will sign on the registry, and there will never be someone in need. Every day in New Jersey, there are about 5 people waiting for organs. So it's a hard thing when others can help to give the gift of life and sight. At the eye bank, we focus on cornea donation and we give sight to others. And that's a really beautiful thing.
Wow. Okay. So how does one become an organ donor?
The main way to become one is to get it on your license when you register to become a licensed driver, or for an identification card. If you have an ID card, you can also designate yourself to become one. When you go to the motor vehicle office, the question should be asked, would you like to be an organ donor? And that's the time it's usually done. It can also be done online. Someone can decide to go online to the MVC website and do it. Or it can also be, we have a particular form that can be used as well. And someone can say yes to donation, filling out that form and mailing it to the MVC. That's one part of it, but we always encourage everyone who signs up to be a donor to let your family know your wishes, because there have been instances where someone signed up to be a donor, but their family doesn't know. So it's a very important part of the process to let your family know what your wishes are as well.
Okay. And as far as the cornea transplants, which eye conditions are typically supported by the cornea transplants?
Okay. There are a couple hereditary diseases that usually lead to a cornea transplant, and 2 that come to mind are Fuchs dystrophy, which affects people in their older years, in their 60s. They have an eye condition called Fuchs dystrophy. There's another one called keratoconus, and that seems to affect younger people, and at some point their cornea starts thinning out and becomes cone-shaped, and it's apparently very painful. It's treated for as long as possible with hard contact lenses, and then eventually the patient would have to get a transplant. So these are two of the diseases. There are other, of course, injuries. Somebody may have had an injury to the eye. We've had a young gentleman who recently had one because something went in his eye and had to have his cornea replaced. So it's a variety of reasons. Some of them are diseases, but they are injuries and other kinds of conditions that will lead to a transplant.
Do you happen to know what is the preliminary process of a cornea transplant?
The preliminary, can you further explain your question?
Like, what is the basis of it? How is it typically done?
Oh, okay. Once someone gives the gift of sight, and our staff bring the cornea back to the eye bank, they begin an intense process to evaluate the cornea to ensure that the cornea itself meets the criteria for transplant. They also bring back blood so that we test it for communicable diseases. While that process is going on, we also receive calls from physicians letting us know that they need a cornea because they're going to do some cornea surgery on a patient. Mm-hmm. We match up the physician's request with the corneas we have available, and we ship the tissue to the physician the morning of surgery. It's usually about a 45-minute procedure. We've had cornea transplant patients tell us that in the past, 40, 50 years ago, it required a hospital stay for about a week to 2 weeks, and now it's an outpatient procedure that's about 45 minutes long.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, what are some of your success stories with the cornea transplants? Have people had high possibilities of restoring their eyesight or stabilizing their eyesight once they've had the transplants?
For cornea transplant surgery is one of the most successful transplants. About 90% of transplants are successful. Mm-hmm. And I always use a couple of stories where patients tell us what happened. Many times we have patients write letters back to their donor families, and we use that time to find out a bit more about them, what led them to have transplants. So two stories come to mind. We had a young girl, she's about 8 now, and her father told us that she was having a lot of problems early on. If she's 8 and she's had 2 cornea transplants, one in each eye, she was having difficulty keeping up in school, and they were really concerned, and they realized that she was having vision problems. With her cornea transplants, she is now, like any 8-year-old little girl, running, playing, and now she's catching up on her schoolwork. So that's one story of how a transplant will impact a long lifetime, because she's only about 8 years old now. We had a young gentleman who had gone in for surgery, mm-hmm. and routine surgery, and ended up needing to have cornea transplants. And at the time, he was living independently, had his own apartment, and really living independently on his own. He got infections in his eyes, and because of that, he was blind for about 7 weeks. He had to move back home with his parents. He needed help with bathing, just activities of daily living. He needed help with all of that. And then he got his transplant, and he was just so thankful and so grateful that someone, gave him this gift of sight. He's one of our ambassadors. He comes back and shares his story and encourages people to join the donor registry. Since then, he has moved on. He's now married. He's a dad with 2 young children, mm-hmm. and he uses every opportunity to tell us what a difference this cornea transplant has made in his life. And my final story is about a young man who I saw just this past Sunday, because he was sharing his story with a group. Mm-hmm. He is an Afghan vet. So he served in the military, and while he was in Germany, a piece of glass went in his eye and cut his cornea.
Wow.
And he said he kind of prepared life to live with one eye. Mm-hmm. But when he came back here, he went to the VA and was told, sure, we can do something and we can get you a cornea transplant. And as a result, now he is able to see with both eyes. He's now a high school physics and astronomy teacher. So he's a really smart guy, teaching physics and astronomy. So the impact of this procedure, just a transplant on someone's life, just how it can help not just them, but their families, and to help them lead a productive life, it's just amazing. And these are just a few of the stories that we have from the eye.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Yes.
So, I selected the Lions Eye Bank to take interest in back in March of this year. And I felt like it was just a great opportunity because this is a company that's in New Jersey. And I was searching for a company in New Jersey who helps with restoring sight because not many people know about it.
That's
and I just thought that it would be just something great to give awareness to. So what is a typical day like from you open the door, go into your office, and get ready to work?
No day is typical. There is each day it's different. Every day it's something different, and that's part of the fun of being in this role, because you never know. You have some idea of what to expect each day, but it changes every day. So just giving you an example for today, as soon as we're done, we have a group coming in from a Lions Club, Lincoln Park Lions Club. They're coming in because they have Lincoln Park Day, which is like, at the end of summer, a lot of towns do different, days. And they want to host a table at Lincoln during the event with information about restoring sight and eye organ and tissue donation. So they're coming in this morning. We'll prepare these boxes for them. We'll prepare a presentation and really to give them a brief. They're familiar with what we do, but just a refresher, so to speak. So I'll be doing that in a while. Then when I'm done with that, I'm going to be looking at a presentation that we are preparing for when we go to potential funders. So I'm working on that too. There are two things that I'm doing. One, preparing a brochure, but also to do a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to be looking at that as well. Then I'll be looking at a meeting I have coming up tomorrow, which is a pretty important meeting, and preparing, really getting ready for that. In between, there are things to be signed, other areas to other people to connect with. So really, no day is a typical day. No day. It just adds to the fun and excitement of what to expect every day. But on that note, I do want to say thank you so much for your interest in the Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey. We have been around for almost 45 years, and not many people know about what we do. So thank you you have made a difference in just letting people know what is it that we do. And another aspect of what we do is that we support researchers looking into the causes of blinding eye disease. So we do it in two ways: by providing cornea globes. Some of them need that to do their research, but we also, through fundraising efforts, we're able to help provide grants to physicians or researchers who are doing research and they need funding to do that research. So in many ways, we are reaching out, touching, and impacting lives in our community, and thank you for making a difference.
Oh, no problem. I just want to, if someone wanted to know where the Lions Eye Bank was, how would they get that information?
They could go online and look at our website and look at Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey, and it's EYE, not the letter I, EYE, Lions Eye Bank of New Jersey, or they could find us at www.lebnj.org. We're also on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. We would need more likes on Facebook. Or we're right here in Clark. Okay. Clark at 77 Brand Avenue. Come visit us.
And you all have an upcoming event in November, correct?
Yes, we do. We have a big event coming up. We call it Night for Sight. We are honoring two people who have really helped to give sight to others in different ways. One of them is a physician, Dr. Mark Lister, who is a cornea transplant surgeon. So he works very closely with us, and when he needs tissue for cornea transplants, he contacts this eye bank, and we're able to provide it to him. The other person we're honoring, his name is Michael Shapiro. He's the founder and publisher of an all-online newspaper called tapinto.net. It used to be called the Alternative Press, but it's now called Tap Into. And he has made his reporters, he has covered our events, and published information about the eye bank on his website. So he has done his part in promoting the importance of sight restoration and eye organ and tissue donation. So 2 gentlemen worthy of being honored.
Wow, okay. And in conclusion to this interview, are there any words of encouragement that you could give to those who are listening or watching this video who are dealing with vision loss or an eye condition they were born with or one that they acquired, just for motivation?
Well, you are the biggest motivation and inspiration that I have come across for people who are visually impaired. What I have seen